There are moments in life when silence speaks louder than any noise, when the weight of daily routines presses on the heart, and we begin to wonder if existence itself has lost its meaning. In these moments of stillness, when the spirit feels trapped in an invisible cage, something within us calls out for transformation. This call is not merely the voice of dissatisfaction, but the whisper of the soul yearning to awaken from its slumber, to rediscover its connection with the universe, and to embrace a deeper sense of purpose. Every being carries within an unshakable potential, a seed of abundance waiting for the right alignment to grow, yet most wander far from this inner truth. The journey toward manifestation and personal growth is neither accidental nor reserved for a chosen few. It is a conscious act of remembrance, a return to the source where intention meets presence. Many spend their days chasing external achievements, believing that prosperity lies in accumulation, when in reality, the greatest wealth is born from inner harmony. Prosperity, in its truest essence, is not about possessions but about alignment, about being fully present in the flow of life and allowing energy to move freely through every thought, action, and breath. This video is an invitation to look within, to release the patterns that silence your inner power, and to step into the flow of manifestation with clarity and courage. Here begins a journey where abundance is not a distant dream, but a living, breathing reality waiting to be claimed. Every human being carries within the heart an ancient longing, a yearning that surpasses material needs and touches the very essence of the soul. Yet, as we move through the rhythm of ordinary days, there seems to be an invisible weight that slows our steps. This heaviness does not arise from physical exhaustion alone, but from a subtle resistance between who we truly are and the reality we inhabit. These silent barriers to manifestation often operate without our awareness, keeping us in cycles of repetition where desire and fulfillment remain distant echoes of each other. To understand them is to begin the process of dismantling what no longer serves us, and to open the path for abundance to flow naturally. One of the most hidden obstacles is the voice of self-doubt. It whispers quietly but persistently, "You are not ready, you are not worthy, you are not enough." Such thoughts are rarely questioned because they seem to belong to us, yet in truth, they are remnants of past conditioning. These echoes come from family expectations, societal standards, and personal disappointments that were never released. When left unexamined, self-doubt becomes a shadow that clouds the clarity of intention. Manifestation, which depends on focused energy and deep trust, struggles to breathe in the presence of this fog. Recognizing the source of these doubts is the first step, for the mind cannot dismantle what it refuses to see. Another barrier takes the form of attachment to results. Many approach manifestation as if it were a transaction. I give this effort, therefore I should receive that reward. Yet manifestation does not unfold through bargaining. It emerges from alignment. When the heart is fixated on outcomes, anxiety takes root and energy contracts. It is like holding too tightly to a seed, expecting it to bloom instantly. The soil of life requires patience, nourishment, and faith that unseen processes are at work. Attachment blinds us to the subtle signs of progress, the synchronicities, the quiet opportunities, the inner shifts that are evidence of manifestation in motion. True abundance arises when the grip loosens, when we can celebrate the journey as much as the destination. There is also the subtle prison of comparison. In a world where images of success are constantly displayed, it becomes almost instinctual to measure one's worth against the achievements of others. Yet this habit creates a distortion. It convinces us that abundance is scarce, that someone else's gain is our loss. Such thinking contradicts the very law of manifestation, for abundance in the universe is limitless. Comparison feeds the energy of lack, and what we feed inevitably grows. To step beyond this prison is to return to the truth that our path is unique and our timing is sacred. The moment we release the need to compete with others, we free the energy that was meant to support our own unfolding. A quieter, yet equally powerful barrier is the neglect of presence. Manifestation requires intention, but it also requires presence and attunement to the now. Many live with eyes fixed either on regrets of the past or on projections of the future, forgetting that creation occurs only in the present. When the mind is distracted, opportunities pass unnoticed, inner guidance is muffled, and energy disperses. Presence is not a passive state. It is a fertile ground where intuition becomes clear, where synchronicities can be recognized, and where gratitude for the smallest details strengthens the vibration of abundance. Without presence, even the most powerful intentions lose their foundation. Yet perhaps the most invisible obstacle is resistance to change itself. The human spirit longs for transformation, but the human mind often clings to familiarity, even when it causes pain. This paradox creates a subtle self-sabotage. We dream of new realities while unconsciously reinforcing old patterns. Resistance is disguised as procrastination, perfectionism, or endless preparation. It says, "I will begin when I am ready," though readiness never arrives. The truth is that manifestation does not wait for perfect conditions. It is born in motion. Each small step, even in uncertainty, generates momentum that dismantles resistance. To navigate these barriers, we must first learn to listen differently. Instead of reacting with frustration when desires do not materialize, we can pause and ask, what unseen resistance is present within me? What energy am I unconsciously feeding? This inquiry transforms obstacles into teachers. Doubt reveals where we need trust. Attachment shows us where we must surrender. Comparison calls us to honor our uniqueness. Distraction reminds us to return to presence. Resistance uncovers the fear that must be met with courage. In this way, the very barriers that once blocked our path become sacred mirrors guiding us deeper into alignment. Stories of transformation often carry this pattern. A woman who once believed she was unworthy of love found that every relationship echoed this belief until she learned to affirm her own value independent of others. A man consumed by the race for financial success discovered that his anxiety dissolved only when he shifted from chasing money to cultivating gratitude for what he already possessed. These are not distant tales, but reflections of what becomes possible when the silent barriers of manifestation are faced with awareness. The shift is not dramatic at first, but steady, like the turning of seasons. The practice of overcoming these obstacles is not about force, it is about softness combined with persistence. Daily rituals such as journaling, mindful breathing, or silent reflection allow the hidden voices of the subconscious to emerge. By bringing them into light, they lose their grip. Gratitude practices redirect focus from what is absent to what is present, creating an energetic magnet for more abundance. Affirmations spoken with conviction are not empty words but seeds planted in fertile soil. Each practice, though simple, accumulates over time, dissolving the barriers layer by layer. Ultimately, the journey of manifestation is less about adding something new to our lives and more about removing what blocks the natural flow of abundance. Just as a river does not need to be forced to move, our energy does not need to be forced to manifest. It simply requires the clearing of stones and debris that obstruct its path. When the barriers are acknowledged and released, manifestation becomes less of a struggle and more of a dance, a graceful unfolding where the soul remembers its power and the universe responds with resonance. Thus, the silent barriers of manifestation remind us of a profound truth. Abundance is not withheld from us. It is we who withhold ourselves from abundance. By facing doubt with trust, loosening attachment with surrender, releasing comparison with self-acceptance, cultivating presence and meeting resistance with courage, we step into alignment with the creative force of the universe. It is here in this alignment that the seed of intention blossoms into the lived experience of prosperity, harmony, and joy. There are moments when life appears as a series of obstacles, where every attempt at growth is met with resistance, and abundance seems to belong to others but never fully to us. In those moments, it is easy to believe that prosperity is random, reserved for the lucky or the privileged. Yet the truth is more subtle and more profound. Abundance is not something we chase, it is something we align with. The flow of abundance is not hidden because it does not exist, but because it requires a different kind of perception, a deeper awareness that moves beyond logic into the realm of trust, energy, and presence. At its core, abundance is not measured by possessions or achievements, but by the degree of harmony between inner being and outer reality. When thoughts, emotions, and actions resonate with clarity, life responds in kind, reflecting that vibration through opportunities, relationships, and growth. But when there is dissonance, when fear and doubt dominate the mind, the flow becomes obstructed, much like a river dammed by unseen debris. This is why many people who work tirelessly find themselves exhausted yet unfulfilled, while others who appear to move with ease seem to attract success almost effortlessly. The difference lies not in effort, but in alignment. To understand this hidden flow, one must begin with intention. Intention is not simply wishing for something to happen, it is the clear declaration of inner truth. When intention emerges from a place of authenticity, it carries the weight of the soul. A fragmented intention, born from insecurity or external pressure, lacks coherence, and the universe mirrors this fragmentation. The hidden flow of abundance responds to clarity, and clarity comes from knowing what we truly desire, not what we have been told to want, but what resonates with the essence of who we are. Yet intention alone is not enough. The flow requires surrender, a willingness to trust that once the seed is planted, life itself will nurture its growth. Surrender is often misunderstood as passivity, when in reality, it is the highest form of participation. It is the act of aligning with universal intelligence rather than forcing outcomes. Just as the tide obeys the pull of the moon without resistance, so too does abundance arrive when we allow life to unfold with trust. Resistance contracts energy. Surrender expands it. To step into the hidden flow is to release control over timing, form, and outcome, while holding firmly to the vibration of faith. There is a paradox here. The more desperately we cling to abundance, the further it seems to retreat. This is because desperation vibrates with lack, and lack cannot attract fullness. The hidden flow responds instead to gratitude. Gratitude is not merely the polite acknowledgement of blessings, but a living energy that amplifies what is present. It shifts the focus from what is missing to what is already alive and abundant, and in doing so, it multiplies itself. When one awakens each day with reverence for the breath, the warmth of sunlight, the chance to begin again, they signal to the universe, "I am ready for more." Gratitude transforms scarcity into sufficiency, and sufficiency into overflow. Another layer of the hidden flow lies in the alignment of purpose. Abundance is not random distribution, it is a current that carries us toward the fulfillment of our unique mission. When actions are disconnected from purpose, even great achievements feel hollow. But when we align with what our soul came to express, whether through art, service, teaching, or creation, the universe responds with support, as though conspiring to open doors we could not have forced open ourselves. This is why some paths, though difficult, feel light, while others, though seemingly easy, feel heavy. The hidden flow reveals itself through the alignment of effort with essence. The body itself offers a map to this flow. When we resist life, the body contracts, shoulders tighten, breath shortens, and energy stagnates. When we are aligned, the body relaxes, breath deepens, and vitality increases. Manifestation is not only a mental or spiritual act, but a physical one, for the body holds the memory of both fear and freedom. Practices such as mindful movement, meditation, and conscious breathing become gateways to releasing stored resistance, allowing the current of abundance to circulate freely. The body, mind, and spirit are not separate vessels, but intertwined expressions of one field of energy. To access the hidden flow, it is also necessary to reframe failure. Many believe abundance is a straight path, where success follows every effort. Yet failure is not an interruption of the flow, but a part of it. Each obstacle, each disappointment is a redirection, a subtle guidance toward deeper alignment. Failure strips away illusions, clarifies desires, and strengthens resilience. Those who resist failure remain stuck in cycles of frustration, while those who embrace it as teacher unlock new currents of growth. The hidden flow is not about perfection, but about persistence infused with trust. Stories of those who embody this flow illustrate its reality. A man burdened by financial struggles shifted his focus from scarcity to service, dedicating his time to helping others with skills he already possessed. Opportunities began to appear, not because money was directly pursued, but because alignment generated value, and value attracted reward. A woman exhausted by unfulfilling work began a daily ritual of gratitude and meditation, slowly realizing her true calling in creative expression. As she aligned with her passion, unexpected invitations and collaborations emerged, carrying her into a new reality. These are not accidents, but reflections of universal law. Energy flows where attention, gratitude, and authenticity converge. The hidden flow of abundance also demands that we honor cycles. Nature herself teaches this truth. The tree does not bear fruit every season, and the river does not always run at the same pace. There are times of expansion and times of rest, times of receiving and times of releasing. Those who honor these cycles move in harmony, while those who resist them exhaust themselves in constant struggle. Abundance is not the denial of scarcity, but the recognition that both are phases of one continuous rhythm. To align with this rhythm is to move without fear, trusting that every winter carries within it the promise of spring. Ultimately, the hidden flow of abundance is less about seeking and more about remembering. We are not disconnected from abundance, we are expressions of it. Just as waves are inseparable from the ocean, we are inseparable from the universal field of prosperity. When we remember this truth, the struggle dissolves and abundance becomes not something external to be achieved, but an inner state to be embodied. From this state, life reflects back to us what we already are: limitless, expansive, and whole. The journey into the hidden flow is not a single revelation, but a daily practice. It asks us to align intention with authenticity, to surrender control while maintaining faith, to cultivate gratitude in the smallest details, to embody purpose, and to trust the rhythm of life itself. In doing so, we do not merely attract abundance, we awaken to the reality that we were never without it. The hidden flow was always present, waiting for us to listen, to trust, and to return to the harmony of being. Fear often hides itself beneath the surface of ordinary choices, shaping the way we speak, act, and even dream. It whispers that we are too late, too unprepared, or too unworthy to claim the life our hearts long for. In this quiet but persistent voice, many surrender their deepest desires before they are even born, trading infinite possibility for the illusion of safety. Trust, on the other hand, speaks softly, but with a strength that fear can never match. It does not promise the absence of difficulty, but it assures us that we are not alone in the process, that life itself is designed to support our unfolding. Manifestation exists in the delicate balance between these two forces. The question is not whether fear will arise, it always does, but whether we will allow trust to lead the dance. At its core, fear is not the enemy. It is a messenger, a signal that we are stepping beyond the edges of comfort into the unknown. In the realm of manifestation, the unknown is inevitable, for we are calling into existence realities that have not yet been lived. Fear appears as resistance, urging us to retreat into what is familiar. Trust, however, invites us to move forward, reminding us that the unknown is not empty but full of potential. The dance between fear and trust is not about silencing fear, but about choosing not to be ruled by it. Each step forward, no matter how small, tips the balance toward expansion. Fear often disguises itself as practicality. It tells us that dreaming too big is irresponsible, that risks should be avoided, that stability is the highest form of wisdom. Yet beneath this mask, fear limits creativity and suppresses the soul's call for growth. Trust challenges this voice, not with recklessness but with courage. Trust says, you do not have to see the entire path to take the first step. It knows that clarity emerges through action, not before it. Those who wait for fear to vanish before acting will remain waiting. Those who walk with trust, even while trembling, discover that the universe meets them halfway. There are moments when fear feels overwhelming, when every part of the body resists movement. In these moments, the practice of presence becomes essential. Breath by breath, we return from the projections of fear into the truth of now. Fear lives in imagined futures, in what might go wrong. Trust lives in the present, in the reality of this single moment. By grounding ourselves in presence, we dismantle fear's illusions and reconnect with the steady rhythm of life. A single conscious breath can remind us that while the future is uncertain, this moment is alive and within it we are safe. Another way fear interferes with manifestation is through self-sabotage. When opportunities appear, fear convinces us we are not ready, leading us to delay, to decline, or to undermine our own progress. Trust counters this pattern by affirming that readiness is not a destination, but a decision. No one feels fully prepared when stepping into the unknown. Readiness is the choice to act despite uncertainty. In this way, trust transforms self-sabotage into self-empowerment, reminding us that growth requires courage more than perfection. Stories from real lives illustrate this truth. A man who had long dreamed of starting his own business delayed for years, convinced he lacked the resources and knowledge. Fear kept him in a cycle of preparation without action. When he finally chose to act, imperfectly but with trust, support began to appear in unexpected ways. Mentors offered guidance, opportunities arose, and clients found him. His story was not one of instant success, but of gradual unfolding, made possible because trust led where fear once ruled. Similarly, a woman afraid of leaving an unhealthy relationship believed she would never survive on her own. Yet when she trusted her worth enough to step away, she discovered not only resilience but also the space to manifest healthier connections. The dance between fear and trust also reflects itself in our relationship with abundance. Fear tells us resources are scarce, urging us to hold tightly, to cling to what we have even when it no longer nourishes us. Trust assures us that giving creates space for receiving, that life replenishes what is shared. This is not about reckless generosity, but about flowing with the rhythm of circulation. Just as rivers must move to remain alive, abundance must circulate to expand. When fear hoards, trust releases, and in releasing, it multiplies. On a spiritual level, fear thrives on separation, the belief that we are isolated beings fighting against an indifferent universe. Trust dissolves this illusion by reminding us of our connection with the whole. To trust is to recognize that the same intelligence that orchestrates the stars and seasons also guides our steps. It is to understand that the universe is not against us, but with us, moving through us, expressing itself as us. From this perspective, manifestation is not about forcing desires into existence, but about aligning with the creative flow that is already present. Practical rituals can help strengthen trust when fear seems louder. Journaling provides a mirror for the subconscious, revealing the patterns that keep us small. Meditation cultivates presence, grounding us in the now, where fear cannot dominate. Affirmations, spoken with sincerity, reprogram the mind to believe in possibility. Acts of courage, even small ones, expand our capacity for trust, speaking our truth, setting a boundary, or taking the first step toward a dream. Each practice is a declaration that trust has a place in the dance, and with repetition, trust begins to lead more often than fear. Yet it is important to acknowledge that fear never disappears entirely. Even the most courageous souls feel its presence. The difference lies in their response. They do not mistake fear for truth. They honor it as part of the journey, but refuse to let it dictate the destination. In this way, fear becomes less of a cage and more of a compass, pointing us toward the very places where growth awaits. The dance between fear and trust is not a battle to be won, but a relationship to be balanced. To manifest a life of abundance, we must learn to hear fear without obeying it, to invite trust into each decision, and to move forward even when the ground beneath us feels uncertain. Fear may always whisper, but trust, once chosen, sings louder. And in that song lies the melody of creation, guiding us step by step into the life we were always meant to live. Every journey of manifestation eventually brings us to the recognition that life itself is cyclical, a dance between beginnings and endings, expansion and contraction, light and shadow. Transformation is not a sudden leap into perfection, but a sacred rhythm, unfolding through seasons that carry their own lessons. To resist these rhythms is to struggle endlessly, but to embrace them is to discover the natural flow of abundance and growth. The sacred rhythm of transformation invites us to honor both movement and stillness, both joy and sorrow, as necessary companions on the path of becoming. One of the greatest misunderstandings about manifestation is the belief that progress should always be linear. We imagine that once we set an intention, the path will be smooth and upward, free from setbacks. Yet life teaches otherwise. Just as nature moves through cycles, spring's awakening, summer's flourishing, autumn's release, winter's rest, so too does the human spirit. When we deny these seasons, frustration grows, and we believe something is wrong with us. But when we align with them, we see that every phase holds purpose. The stillness of winter is as sacred as the blossoming of spring, for it prepares the soil for new life. Transformation also requires dismantling. Before new patterns can emerge, old ones must dissolve. This process is rarely comfortable, for it asks us to release identities, beliefs, and attachments that once felt safe. The sacred rhythm often begins with disruption, a sudden change, a loss, or a challenge that forces us to see differently. At first, this feels like chaos, but beneath the surface, it is a reordering. The breaking of what is familiar creates space for something greater. The sacred rhythm is not cruel, it is purposeful, stripping away what no longer aligns so that authenticity may rise. A key element of transformation is patience. In a culture that glorifies speed, waiting feels unbearable, as if nothing is happening. Yet, in the unseen realms of spirit, waiting is never empty. Just as seeds germinate silently beneath the soil, so too does the soul transform in quiet phases. Patience is not passive endurance but active trust, the willingness to hold faith when no evidence yet appears. Those who honor the rhythm of patience discover that manifestation arrives not as a forced outcome, but as a natural blossoming at the right time. The sacred rhythm also teaches us to honor the balance between effort and surrender. Transformation requires both: the discipline to align our actions with intention and the humility to release control over results. Effort without surrender leads to exhaustion, while surrender without effort leads to stagnation. The dance lies in knowing when to act and when to let go, when to push forward and when to rest. This balance is not fixed, but intuitive, revealed moment by moment. By listening inwardly, we learn to sense whether life is asking us to move or to wait, to build or to release. Within this rhythm, rituals become anchors. Simple practices, morning reflection, mindful breathing, gratitude journaling, remind us daily of our alignment with the universe. Rituals create continuity across the shifting seasons, offering stability when external circumstances change. They remind us that transformation is not only about grand shifts, but also about consistent devotion to the small. The sacred rhythm is woven through both the extraordinary and the ordinary, the profound breakthroughs, and the quiet repetitions that slowly rewire the soul. Stories of transformation reflect this rhythm clearly. Consider someone who faced a deep, personal loss. At first, grief consumed every breath, creating a season of winter where joy seemed absent. Yet in that stillness, reflection deepened, and the heart opened to compassion in ways never known before. Slowly, as spring returned, new relationships formed, new opportunities arose, and the person emerged stronger, not because grief vanished, but because it had been honored as part of the rhythm. Transformation was not the erasure of pain, but the integration of it into wisdom. Another example comes from those who pursue dreams against all odds. Often there are years of preparation where little seems to change outwardly. Doubts creep in, and fear tempts surrender. Yet persistence, guided by trust, keeps the rhythm alive. Then suddenly, what once seemed impossible unfolds with ease, as if the universe had been silently orchestrating the moment. Such stories remind us that transformation is not random, it is rhythmic. When the inner and outer align, manifestation appears almost effortlessly, though it was built quietly over time. The sacred rhythm also asks us to embrace shadow as part of growth. Many resist their darker emotions, anger, grief, jealousy, fear, believing they must be eliminated to manifest abundance. Yet shadow is not an enemy but a teacher. It reveals where healing is needed, where energy is blocked, and where truth is hidden. By acknowledging shadow without judgment, we release its hold and transform its energy into strength. The sacred rhythm does not deny shadow. It integrates it, creating wholeness. Just as night balances day, shadow balances light, and both are necessary for transformation to be complete. At the deepest level, transformation is less about becoming someone new and more about remembering who we truly are. The sacred rhythm strips away illusions, guiding us back to our essence. It is a process of unlearning as much as learning, of releasing false identities and returning to authenticity. When aligned with this rhythm, manifestation ceases to be about acquiring what is external and becomes about embodying what is eternal. Abundance, then, is not something gained, but something revealed, a reflection of the wholeness already present within. The sacred rhythm of transformation is not a destination but a lifelong movement. It invites us to flow with cycles rather than resist them, to trust disruption as much as harmony, to honor patience as much as action. Each season, each phase is necessary, forming a tapestry of becoming that cannot be rushed or skipped. To live in alignment with this rhythm is to live in harmony with the universe itself, where manifestation unfolds not as a struggle, but as a dance. In the end, transformation is not about control, but about participation. We are not separate from the rhythm. We are part of it. Just as the ocean carries the tide, life carries us through cycles of growth. Our task is not to force the rhythm, but to listen, to trust, and to align. When we do, manifestation arises naturally, abundance flows freely, and we step into the fullness of who we are meant to be. The journey through manifestation, abundance, fear, and transformation has revealed a truth that is both simple and profound. Everything we seek is already within us. Life is not withholding blessings, nor is the universe testing our worthiness. What appears as resistance or delay is often guidance, reshaping us into the version of ourselves capable of carrying the abundance we desire. Transformation is not about becoming someone else, but about remembering who we truly are. Aligned beings, connected to the infinite rhythm of creation. The sacred barriers we face, doubt, attachment, fear, are not punishments, but invitations. They are mirrors asking us to release what no longer serves and to trust in the unfolding of life. When we move with presence, gratitude, and courage, the hidden flow of abundance reveals itself, not as something distant, but as a living reality woven into every breath. Each step of this path is part of a greater rhythm. There will be seasons of silence and seasons of expansion, times of surrender and times of action. Yet in all of them, we are being guided back to the truth. Abundance is not about possession, it is about alignment. To live in trust is to live in harmony with the universe, to manifest with intention and grace. The conclusion of this reflection is not an ending but a threshold. From here, the invitation is clear. Choose trust over fear, presence over distraction, surrender over control. In doing so, you will not simply manifest desires. You will embody the essence of abundance itself, and life will mirror back the fullness of who you already are. What if everything you've been waiting for has been waiting for you all along? The shift you desire, the abundance you dream of, the peace your soul longs for, none of it is outside your reach. The universe is not against you. It is within you, ready to respond the moment you align with its rhythm. The only question is, will you step into that alignment today? If this journey has resonated with you, let it be the beginning of something greater. Subscribe now and join this space where we explore the depths of transformation and manifestation together. Your presence here matters, and your path is unfolding with purpose. And don't stop here. Continue watching the next video that's waiting on your screen. There, another step of your journey will be revealed, guiding you closer to the life your soul was always meant to live.